Good day. Well, this is day two of looking at U.S. legislative action through the lens of trying to be rational, non-caustic, and non-hyperbolic. And uh, the results of today are I guess, a little boring. Um, the Senate didn't really do anything, which is fine. Nothing really came out of the White House in terms of executive orders, things like that. The only action, I guess, was in the House, and it's really the first thing the House has to do is they've got to agree on, because the Republicans took control based on the last set of congressional elections. They're going to elect a new Secretary of State. I mean, the Democrats could, but and it's historically not very common to replace a standing Secretary of State unless there's some sort of scandal or something. I'm sorry, Secretary of State, Speaker of the House. Sorry, but there's a little bit of a struggle to get the secretary to get the Speaker of the House set. Um, the Republicans, the majority of Republicans, want to put up a fellow by the name of Kevin McCarthy. He's out of California, but there's I'll say a strong group of Republicans that don't like Kevin McCarthy. They consider him a I don't know I guess a Republican in name only, a rhino. I don't know if that characterization is accurate or not. I guess that depends on where you're sitting, whether that characterization is accurate. But the net result is you can't have a Speaker of the House, the way the rules work, you can't have a Speaker of the House unless a majority of the members of Congress vote for that speaker. And normally, if the House wasn't so equally divided, you wouldn't have to have basically unanimous support for an individual on the Republican side to get a Republican speaker. But in this case, because the House is so evenly divided, you basically have to have all members of Congress on your side of the aisle, either Republican side of the aisle, voting for this individual. In this case, Kevin McCarthy. So they went through 5 roll call votes today, and they really can't do anything else. So I was saying yesterday that their kind of first order of business is to ratify the rules for the 118th Congress. And I did read over those rules. I'm not quite done, but I'm close. And the changes, and most of them are pretty innocuous. Some of them are interesting, but most of them are pretty innocuous, and I'll talk about that tomorrow a little bit. But they can't start doing anything with that until they vote for the Speaker of the House, and they are up to. So today they started like 2 or something like that, and they went till 5:30. They had four roll call votes. A roll call vote is where you go, House member by House member, and the House member. They each have to say who they're going to support. In this case, for the Speaker of the House, and in all 4 of them, they couldn't get to a majority. So there was Kevin McCarthy again, the the person that most Republicans want, and then there's a fellow named Hakeem Jeffries, and he's actually receiving right now more votes than Kevin McCarthy. which is interesting. So one assumes that they'll be doing some horse trading in back rooms somewhere. That Kevin McCarthy will going to House members who are not a fan of his and trying to understand what they need in order to support him. Because apparently nobody on the Republican side besides him has really, has really garnered enough support to win the day. So the bottom line is there just isn't a whole lot going on, at least in the House, until the Speaker of the House is actually voted in. I guess for right now, Nancy Pelosi is still theoretically the Speaker of the House because a replacement hasn't been voted in. So really short today. Again, basically because, well, maybe I'll just start outlining. Yeah, maybe I'll just start outlining the changes. So before I sign off, and I won't take a long time for this because I'll hit it more thoroughly tomorrow. But the changes to the resolution that will be used, the House resolution that will be used to set the rules. What they're going to do is there's apparently two sections. There's the section that is the official rules of the House, and those are basically, they take the rules for the 117th Congress and they do some amendments on it. When you look at those amendments, most of them are pretty innocuous. It's changing this name, it's changing a committee name from this name to this name, removing a clause here, things like that. Some substantive changes. Again, I'll talk about them probably tomorrow. But then there's another section which is, I guess, not standing rules, but part of the House resolution that's only effective for the 118th Congress. You've got the standing rules, which think of this document over here, and it's in effect, And then there's, pardon me, and then there's the House resolution. And the House resolution points to the standing rules, saying, hey, we're going to modify the standing rules like this. Then, in addition, there's this set of clauses in the resolution itself, independent of the standing rules. And I'm not sure why they do it that way, why they have the two why they have the two things side by side. Why don't they just, as opposed to having separate clauses in the House resolution, why don't they just take all those extra clauses and put them in the standing rules? I don't understand why. There's probably a good reason for that. I just don't get it. But that's the way it's set up. And like I said, I'll talk about the changes that are in the latest document tomorrow. But aside from that, I guess that's like I said. I mean, it's a pretty dry day until they pick a Speaker of the House. There's really not much for the House to do, and we'll see what the Senate does tomorrow. We'll see. So, without further ado, I'll sign off, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thanks. Bye-bye.